Good evening and many thanks for joining us. This is Impact Kenya, a show that gives you an opportunity to be heard and also a chance to hold our leaders accountable. My name is Jason Nyantino. Tonight on this program, we focus on participation of women in politics as we prepare for the 9th August general election. I've got a fantastic panel that is going to unpack this subject by fielding questions for members of my audience who have come all the way from Nyamira County, Turkana County, Nyandarua County, Lamu County, and many, many other counties. Welcome aboard. Let's get to know who is on the panel this evening. On my far left is Dr. Regina Mwatha. Dr. Mwatha is a senior lecturer, Department of Sociology, Gender and Development Studies at Kenyatta University, where she also doubles as project leader, Women's Economic Empowerment Hub. Dr. Mwatha has over 15 years experience in policy and good governance in the public sector and also in regional and international organizations. Dr. Mwatha, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Next in line is Ms. Miriam Beatrice. Madam Beatrice is a public policy practitioner with solid experience in public policy analysis and research. She currently serves as the head of partnerships at Emerging Leaders Foundation. Miriam champions for inclusion of young women in policy processes at local, national, and international levels. Madam Beatrice, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Next in line is Dr. Zipporah Okoth. Dr. Okoth is a lecturer at KCA University. She's also a founder and festival director, Lake International Pan-African Film Festival, which focuses on films in African languages. She is an award-winning filmmaker and an author whose works focus on changing the African narrative with a great focus on women issues. Dr. Okoth, welcome to the program. Let's put our hands together for our panel tonight. Before we begin tonight's discussion, let's have a look at what Kenyans are saying about this subject.
Mimi nadhani no, kwa sababu ya bado tuko na ile mentality ya lazima wanawake ama wasichana wakae kwa nyumba, wafanye vitu za nyumba, so na bado naona si wanaume tuko na ile kiburi bado, si ndio ile kichwa. Sasa bado tu tunawafinyilia, bado hawajapata opportunity.
Nasema yes. Juu naona wanawake wameanza kupewa chance kwa politics.
Kiangalia bado kikatiba inasema iko na ile gender that rule, lakini bado tunaona.
In my opinion, for now, mwenye naweza sema si vile, but kwa madhakarua, I think it's the best decision na tunamwombea the best.
Hata ukiona post, wanawake this round wamepewa chance ya kujitetea kwa katiba.
Many thanks for those views. My first question of the evening comes from Ondino Okello. Ondino is from Nairobi County.
My question is on what are some of the specific issues that need to be addressed, both long-term and short-term, so that we can attain the 2/3 gender rule in Kenya?
Thank you, Ondino. 2/3 gender rule. Dr. Mwatha.
Thank you very much. I think I want to begin by stating that when we talk about 2/3, it is 2/3 of either gender, which means if I'm selecting or appointing 10 people and I have 7 men and 3 women, it's okay. But if I have 3 men and 7 women, it is okay. That is 2/3 of either gender. It is not 2/3 gender rule. No, it is 2/3 of either gender. So what do we need to do to achieve that? That will need to be achieved at basically several levels, the elective level and the appointive level. At the elective level, we have never fulfilled that. At the appointive level, when you look at statistics, you can see an attempt by both private sector and the public service, but still there is a lot of room for improvement. what we need to do is have the proper legislation. We need a parliamentary system that comes in and has the political will to pass that legislation. If you look at our gender policy, the sessional paper number 2 of 2020, actually, it is very clear on how this should be done. So the policy we have, but we don't have the legislation.
Thank you, Dr. I'm happy you've talked about political will. And let's get back to Parliament. I think this matter came up in this Parliament term that is ending when they failed to pass this law. I think on a number of occasions, even the Supreme Court pronounced itself on this matter. From where you sit, Dr. before I get to the rest of the panel, what do you think the next Parliament should do? Because clearly this one has failed. We're now looking at the next Parliament in terms of 2/3 gender rule.
I think Kenyans need to be very hawk-eyed and look at each of the parties that will get into power. What is their manifesto saying? What is the manifesto of each of those people running for presidency, so that whoever gets into power, then his government ought to commit to that. But if we have not read the manifesto, we won't be able to pin them down on it and say, look, you promised in your manifesto, and therefore we want it in our legislation. It will also depend on the debates, I think, that go on in Parliament and how they carry up their development agenda.
Okay, fair enough. Beatrice, 2/3 gender rule, what do you have to tell Kenyans about?
While we have not attained that 2/3 gender principle, I'll take us back a little bit backwards in 2013 so that we just appreciate the steps, baby as they are, of how far we've come. You remember in 2013, we did not have any woman elected for Senate and governorship at that. Fast forward 2017, we had a few, 3 in Senate, I think, 3 gubernatorial seats. So there have been efforts, and we are seeing, what I'm seeing from that is there's a pattern. As an electorate, as a country, we're beginning to warm up to the idea that actually women can lead, and women are as good as leaders, are good leaders just as their counterparts. Right. So while we have not attained the 2/3 gender rule, there have been steps both in policy and practically to ensure that more women actually attain elective seats. I'm very, very curious, and I'm hopeful to see how many more women will be elected. And I can bet on this, there'll be more than what we've been seeing in 2013 and 2017. However, that should not make us stop the day-to-day fight of ensuring that we actually attain the 2/3 gender principle. But we should appreciate the steps that we've taken as a country from the 2010 constitution when it was promulgated up to now.
Okay. Dr. Koth, in 2010, what Madam Beatrice is talking about, before 2010, the new constitution was promulgated, we only had 6 women who were nominated. We had 16 of them who were elected. So that was a total of 22, which was about 10%. But now the 12th Parliament, and I guess it's because of the new constitution, 97 women are in Parliament, both Senate, different numbers in Senate, different numbers in the National Assembly. Do you think we have the right laws to give us the 2/3 gender rule? Where is the problem?
I believe we have the right laws, and every journey can start with a simple step. I think we are almost halfway reaching that step of achieving the 2/3 gender role. But I'd like to say that I think also there are many challenges that women face when they are coming into political leadership, and it has frightened, if not scared, a lot of women to sit back a lot of women who want to be in the leadership positions to step back, because we will want to say every time, like, we don't want to just give them, let them go into those seats. But anytime we say that, when a woman stands, the first backlash is what? She's not married. Does she have children? This is her home. Where is her home? You get it. We start looking at the cultural aspect, the social degradation of that woman. And if you look at all the women who are, and even the ones who are already famous and have sat in those seats, there's that pressure which is never about their intellectual or IQ or EQ impact. It's always, they're always being put down because of the social, cultural issues. So perhaps I think as a nation, we need to start looking at women in the same specs that we look at men. Because when men stand there, what do we say? Oh, he studied this. Does he have a certificate? We never touch anything to do with, is he married? How many children does he have? But when it comes to women, can we put that on the same leverage? I believe when we look at these challenges that women are facing, then as a nation, we'll be able to give even more younger women, even older women, a chance to be able to stand up for political office. Because yes, we can say we want to have this 2/3 gender rule, but how many women are brave enough to stand up and be counted and say, I have tried this 5 times and I have failed? Most of us, we try once and we fail, or we are given a nominated position, then we forget.
Dr. There's I'm okay with that, but look at it this way. That's about elective positions. But we have institutions like the cabinet, we have other institutions where I mean, people are appointed, but we still see less women. So do we have political goodwill? Do we have the leaders? Is it a mindset issue in our offices and positions of influence?
How are people elected? Let's start from there. Right now, people are elected on the basis that they wanted to vie for office and they stepped down for their male counterparts. Are those the same people who are going to be nominated for those seats? So when we have those kind of structures where we don't hear about people send your certificates and then you are going to be given the position. We have people being nominated on the basis whether they support the party or not. So unless we change those kind of structures within our parties, like are the parties themselves getting people who are merited to be there, or because those people are the greater supporters of the parties? So it all still builds down to the same political ideology that they had. So if all these women stepped down, then we are going to have fewer women being nominated even for these seats, because how many are supporting the party at that particular time?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the way appointments are done, let's leave out political appointments.
Yeah.
But we have, you see, like an appointments to the cabinet, we have permanent principal secretaries, we have commissioners, we have all this. But when you do an analysis, you find that there are less women. Beatrice, what do you think is the problem?
I mean, who are the gatekeepers? And as we've rightly put, political parties hold so much power. Let's even look at nominations. How many women will not be running for elective positions just because their parties thought they were not good enough, or they did not have enough money, or, you know, such sexual favors were not granted to the gatekeepers of nominations? And a key gatekeeper here are political parties. Then a solution, therefore, would be we really need to sanitize our operations within political parties, because those are the gatekeepers of power. And power here is both elective and nominative.
Thank you. You're watching Impact Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. We are taking a short... Welcome back to Impact Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight, we are focusing on participation of women in politics as we get closer to the 9th August general election. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? My next question of the evening comes from Mudhama John. Mudhama John is from Kiambu County.
I'm Mudhama John, and my question revolves around the problems that women face in their political campaigns. Now, the issue of disparity and discrimination are just some of the issues that women face in their political campaigns. And a clear example is in areas where you find that the number of women vying for a particular political seat in an area is fewer than the number of men contesting for the same seat. So I want to know what can be done to bridge that gap and give our women a leeway in their political campaigns. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I think I'll come to Dr. Okoth. You raised that earlier. Now we are down at the campaigns. What are the issues? The issues the women facing, the campaigns, what are the issues?
Mainly, first of all, lack of enough money. Campaigns require money. Lack of enough resources, human resource, because as much as we are pushing for the woman, you'll find very few women want to even push for her. Like how many women will come and say they want to go on the campaign trail with her. So there's that lack of security for the women, because campaign environment is very hostile to women. So we need security. People can throw stones, people can boo at you. So we also need emotional security, you know. When you're saying something and people boo at you, they start throwing things. And sometimes even the people who you're talking to can start a fight, and there's also the propaganda that goes on. So there's need for security, both emotional and physical security. We also need to have an environment where we know the administration itself feels like when the woman is standing, it is not because they want to oppose a man, it's because they think they want to have that position, equal position with the man. So because, and a lot of times when a woman is vying, there's also that still, it's a cultural prejudice. Let me say patriarchy. We are a highly ingrained patriarchal society. And that is not just talking about the men. Even as women, we think in a very patriarchal way. We look at a fellow woman and we're like, will she manage? You know, those positions are for men. So it's not just men against women. It's the whole society or patriarchal system that we still need to look at, as much as we are still empowered and educated. Then again, another thing is, you'll find educated women are too scared to stand for positions. Then also...
Let's start with you, Dr. Okoth. Are you planning to join politics?
I'm a diplomat, I'm not a politician.
But that's what the problem is, even
No.
Yes.
I believe my purpose is not in politics, but if I find a woman who wants to stand for politics, I really push for them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about understanding your purpose. Personally, I don't think I am not ready
looks
for
like
that.
You want to do diplomatic politics.
I want to do diplomatic politics. Let me put it like that.
Let me go to Dr. Mwatha. John wanted to know what political parties can do in terms of securing the ground for political campaigns when it comes to women. Do you think there's something that they can do?
Yes, there's a lot. Actually, in the last elections, the 2017, we found that women who had political party backup, political party coming up and actually supporting you as a woman, speaking for you, and the men within the political party coming to support you, that garnered, that helped a lot for women. So political party support is very important for women. When it is not there, they are not able to get through, like when other men around the party come and speak for the woman. So that goes very well. It also helps when there is political party support. The issues of gender-based violence, you know, questions like Daktari was talking about, is she married? Who is she married to? So many questions that don't come for men. Those questions are not asked because the woman comes with the face of the political party, and that really helps. And I want to emphasize here in relation to the earlier question, the boys' network is a strong force to deal with, to work with as a woman who is aspiring, as a woman who is looking for appointive positions. The boys' network is so critical. And we cannot run away as women and say, oh, I don't. No, we need to get into that boys' network for the support. We cannot say that the men are not important. The men are so important to us. We need to be in their network, and we need to see how their network works and know how to run around it. We don't have to be men. but we can provide a transformative leadership that is brought by women, but we must understand the boys' network.
Thank you. Talking about political parties, and you, Dr. Mwatha, you talked about how they need to support women. But listen to this, and I'm coming to you, Beatrice. Let's look at the leadership of the main political parties as we know them. And I picked out just 4 top positions. UDA party has only 1 woman at the top, and that is the Secretary General, Madam Veronica Maina. That's UDA. When it comes to ODM, I just picked 3, UDA, ODM, and Jubilee. ODM party has no woman on those 4 positions. Chairman is a man. The Secretary General is a man. Director of Elections is a man. The Treasurer is a man. That is ODM. Jubilee Party, no woman at the top. The Chairman, a man. SG, a man. Director of Elections, a man. National Treasurer, a man. So, Dr. Mwatha, you can see how frustrating it can get. Beatrice, you're a young, emerging leader. What do young women need to do about this? Because clearly, I can tell you for free, this environment cannot, this leadership cannot provide the environment Dr. Mwatha is talking about.
Let me begin by rephrasing your question. It is not what young women can do or what women can do. It is what us as human beings can do, because it is a human rights issue. It is not only a women's issue. I know the closest we've come to in terms of representation in political parties is having women leagues to champion for the needs and the needs of women in political parties. Is that enough? I do not agree. Do we need more leaders? Absolutely. Absolutely we do. Let me dissect a little bit on some of the challenges. I think there's a gentleman who asked, and I was reading something really, really critical today morning. Did you know that for you to run a successful campaign as a senator, I'm particularly interested in senatorial position for obvious reasons, because we really need oversight in this country. It requires you about 39 million.
39 million Kenyan shillings. 39
million Kenyan shillings for you to run a successful campaign as a senator, man or woman. I mean, historically speaking, we've talked about women not having access to factors of production like land and all that. So that is double marginalization. It is, we need to, and I know there's been acts and bills in parliament to try and sanitize how we finance our campaigning in Kenya, but financing is such a huge barrier for women, such a huge barrier for women. Lastly, a solution, I look at the solution in 2 folds. It is also upon us as the electorate, as the voters, as the society, as the community, to embrace the idea of leadership, both from men and women. I mean, we can enact as many laws as we want, a million, but when we go to the ballot, who are you voting for? Is it on merit of she's not married or she has multiple partners? Like that, determines anything. But we really need to look at our mindset and shift our mindset as a people, and embrace the idea of women actually leading.
Okay. But listen to this, the Political Parties Act, I think one of the articles provides that not more than two-thirds of a party's membership or a governing body must be of the same gender. So you can see how futile this drive is, because clearly even the law, top leadership, not tokenism of those assistant, I don't know, deputy assistant, top leadership. The act is very clear, needs to be, gender balanced. Dr. Okoth, as we go to the audience for more questions, political parties, how do we instill discipline? Because clearly, to me, it looks like we talk about this 5 years, another 5 years we'll be here talking about the same thing.
I don't think you can.
So do we need prayers in this country?
I don't think you can go to a political party and instill discipline there. You know, it's like going to somebody's house. I think what we just need to have is a strong women's movement. Right now, we have got NAC Kenya led by Martha Karua. Let's look at her party. That is, I think, the second political party led by a woman after SDP, which was led by Gilu. But beyond that, do we have any other women-led political parties in this country? Maybe it's time we just found a woman who just has those guts to just start a strong movement of a political party, because women are the highest voters.
Okay.
So we cannot change the other political
parties. And that
parties.
cannot be Dr. Okoth?
Not yet.
Okay. Virginia Nyambura. Virginia Nyambura, you are next in line from Kiambu County.
My question is, instead of concentrating the country's energy and resources into ensuring the two-thirds gender rule is effected, why can't we as a country look at empowering young women at the grassroots level so that they can blossom to the national limelight and provide quality leadership?
Thank you, Dr. Mwatha. Are we putting our energies in the wrong area?
I don't think so. I think her question is very pertinent. When you look at the population of this country, 52% are actually women. How do you run a country without that percentage represented? This debate is about women, but we have many other issues in this country. We have health, we have we have agriculture, we have other sectors that we could come here and discuss. But today we are discussing women's leadership, and we are also discussing two-thirds of either gender principle. And yes, we should discuss the quality of leaders that we want. Who are we bringing to the table? Who are these leaders we are bringing to the table? What is their background? Who are they? And not only what they are saying in their political manifesto and promising us, but where are they coming from? We need to interrogate that. And you see, some panelists here, like myself, we are already old. It is your generation to ask that question. You know, what kind of leaders do we want? That has implications on the kind of even policies and legislation that we put through. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari. We are taking a second break. You're watching Impact Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight we are discussing participation of women in politics as we get closer to the 9th August general election. It's a good time to join this conversation by answering this question as you're watching us from home. Do you think our political playing field is fair? Welcome back to Impact Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight we are focusing on participation of women in politics as we get closer to the general election. What are the barriers and what are the bridges when it comes to participation of women in politics? Dr. Mwatha, political parties are on the chopping board tonight. How else can we ensure that they are more accountable than they are at the moment?
Thank you. I think the one way of doing that is using one of the political party acts clauses that talks about funding of the political party. Main political parties, major political parties. We have what we call the major political parties and the smaller parties. The major political parties get some funding from the government, but they have a responsibility of accounting. Political party members must hold a party to account before it gets the next funding, just like in government. But the question is, you can't hold a political party to account if you are not a member of the party.
That's very important. Thank you, Dr. Our next question of the evening is from Brian Oma Odeka, all the way from Homa Bay County. Brian, your question, please.
My question will be just very direct. Towards achieving the two-third gender rule, you see, for it to be achieved, we must deal first with the societal values and virtues. And most of the societies today, if not all, but most of the societies and most of the villages, the rural areas, they still uphold a nuclear family. There is a role that they give to women. Number one, most societies believe that women should be bending low in the society. They should be people who are humble. They should be people who are following instructions. But there is this also belief, I don't know whether it is a fact, but I suggest it's a fact, that women that are empowered, especially women that are in politics and that are in power, they no more bend low. They become proud. No wonder I like how Dr. Okoth mentioned it and Dr. Martha, that even most women in politics, they are not married. What is happening? That means when they get power, there is that they lose a value of bending low and humility, and I think there is this pride. I think that is what society hates. So my question is, how can we overcome this?
Thank you, Brian, but I need to correct you that when you say that most women in politics are not married. Yes. That is not a fair comment. And the panel has not said that. But we hear you. I think you're talking about stereotypes, and you could be a victim of these stereotypes from what I can see. But let's get to hear what the panel is going to say. Madam Beatrice, yeah. Stereotypes. You can see how Kenyans think about women and politics. What's your take?
Lord, it is the double standards for me. It is how we view, I mean, it is, and we were just talking about it off air, it is how we are expected to man up during campaigns, but also nurture, our families and be humble and have societal values that the gentleman is claiming. That is just erroneous, and those are some of the things we need to deconstruct. What I hope and wish for is that we can move as a country from such mundane issues as whether or not I am married or whether or not I am a good husband, I'm a good wife to my husband, to what am I bringing to the table? What are some of the policies I am proposing? Why? What's my experience? What innovative skill am I bringing to the... Let us move our politics and our political discussions to issues-based as opposed to who I'm married to and whether or not, because that's personal trivial, issues. To personal issues. Yes. Let us move to issues that actually matter. Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Okoth, I'm a father to 2 daughters. I'm very worried tonight because if you hear, if this is what women face when they join politics, then I'm really worried. Now you're a lecturer, yes. KCU University, isn't it? Now, what do you teach students? I mean, if they're going to come out of university and college with such stereotypes, where are we headed? What do you tell your students?
First, women are not just humble. Women are strict, women are firm, women have values, and women have held many families together in the absence of men. So let's look at it that positively. So the meaning of humility does not mean stupidity. When you're talking about being submissive, let's first of all remember a woman can only be submissive to a man who respects and upholds her. So based on that, we have to remove all these social stereotypes. And listening to the young man, I see what I was just saying, patriarchy. It is so ingrained in us that we have this particular way women should behave, but no particular way men should behave. When we bring that to politics, it affects us. I look at you, I don't know, you look younger than 30, and I'm thinking, The people you talk to whom might now be like maybe in their teens, they're going to grow up thinking that, okay, as a woman, I should not speak up. As a woman, this should not be happening. And those are the things that have held our society back. When women can't speak up, yet they're the ones who are talking to all the children in the village, it means our social issues are not being brought up to the parliament. So I think when it comes to stereotypes, let's unlearn. Because where the world is going now, especially with this 2/3 gender rule, in the civil society, in the academic sector, with the NGOs, a lot is happening and the gender rule is already successful. It is only in our government, let me say in Africa, not just in Kenya, or maybe the world over, where we are still having a challenge, and it's still because of this patriarchal issue. And patriarchy is not an African issue. If you look at Europe, it's such a patriarchal issue. It's not an African issue. And it's time people started looking at women as colleagues, as partners, as fellow leaders, not as women to be like, I mean.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can talk about women like forever.
Thank you. I can see it's flowing in your veins. Now, Dr. Mwatha, there was a study that was carried out by FIDA about women candidates in politics. And they cited actually 3 barriers, which we are discussing tonight. One is nomination by political parties, which we have touched on. The other one is funding for political campaigns, which we have touched on. And the last one, which is what we are discussing, is gender and cultural and social stereotypes. Dr. Mother, you are a lecturer. You teach students in Kenyatta University. You teach sociology. My biggest problem is our young people that we are churning out of our colleges and universities. I've asked the same question to Dr. Okoth. How can we ensure that they don't graduate with these stereotypes and mindsets? Because that's the only way of changing society.
Thank you. We actually do teach about perceptions, social norms, stereotypes, and we also do teach about the fact that politics is about power and control. Remember that we come from a society where we have been indoctrinated into this through socialization. So we cannot change it overnight or within the 4 years. It is actually after learning that somebody wills to get out of this. And we must also, I would like us to appreciate that some of the key laws that have been passed in this country, like the Anti-FGM Act, were driven by women. If you remember Honorable Jabi Kilimo, we worked with her a lot, and Sophia Abdinur. And the laws to do with marriage, defining what is an African marriage, the laws on protection from domestic violence. Women suffer most of that. So men won't remember to say, oh, let's have a law on prevention from domestic violence, because he's possibly the one enjoying slapping somebody. But, but if you are the one being slapped every day, you might remember, oh, my sister is always battered, let me talk about this. And therefore we change laws. So perceptions take time to change, and it is a personal will to change that. And we do teach about that.
Thank you, Dr. Martha. Let me take my last question of the evening from Weru Tegeda. Weru is from Meru County.
We've seen that majority of the cases in Kenya, the women are being empowered. There's even the upbringing of the two-third gender role concept, right? I'd be wrong if I say, or I would be wrong if I said that majority of the countries where the women are in power have, even in Corona period, have been noticed to be the most improving states. But we usually have a major problem. It's hard to find a lady putting herself out, including some of our panelists, to get into the positions of into the electoral positions. So what are we going to do to ensure that the women get out there and become more of the politicians and they support each other to getting into those positions?
Thank you, Weru. Beatrice women are not coming out. You see, he's even talking about the panel. I think maybe it's you. You need to come out and declare you're running for us.
Eventually. My Nakuru people, I will come back home. So let me begin by saying the notion that women do not support other women is wrong. I look at spaces like the civil society space. We have so many female CEOs. It's amazing. And we've been able to see how that industry has grown just by embracing more women. In media as well. So the only challenge we are facing, and world over, is the political side. What can we do about it? There are women who've been there, done that. We really need to introduce the aspect of mentorship, because it doesn't really make sense. A few women on top and a huge gap in between. So the veteran politicians, some who are retiring, some who are off, the political space, even beginning 2022.
They need to mentor.
They need to mentor those of us who are willing to come to the platform. And that way there's continuity.
Oh, thank you. I've run out of time, and I'll give each of you about 10 seconds to give your closing remarks. Dr. Okoth.
Okay, I'll answer your question too. I'll say, here on KTN, there's a Miss President show, which is nurturing and mentoring many women through training. And a lot of those women from season 1 have gone ahead to campaign for positions in the political sector.
Brilliant.
Second season, the same. That is one way of helping women to stand there. My final sentiments, ladies and gentlemen, let's stand up for the voice of everyone. If a woman wants to vie, support them in whichever way. If your support just means telling them, I believe in you, do that.
Thank you. Madam Beatrice, your closing comment?
2 things. 1, just as it is ingrained in law that it is a right for you to access quality healthcare, quality education, Article 27 of the Constitution of Kenya states that 2/3 gender role, the gender principle, is a right, and let us treat it as such. 9th August, go out, vote for women. Let's have more female representation.
Thank you. Dr. Martha?
I think I want to say 2 things. One, because I see a lot of young women here, we should not be intimidated and be told that women are fighting, women are disagreeing. Yes, we disagree, and it's okay. It's still okay to be on different panels, to be different sides of the coin. So just like men fight, actually they fight. Even us, we disagree. So I want to say that let us encourage each other, let us encourage our sisters, and even our young brothers to join political parties and to be engaged. Thank you.
Thank you, and that's where the curtains fall on this week's edition of Impact Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. It's been wonderful having you on the show, and it's a good time to also be part of this discussion by responding to this question. Do you think our political playing field is fair to women? Do you think our political playing field is fair to women? Engage with us using our contacts on your screen. We'll be happy to know where you're watching us from and what you think about this subject. And on behalf of my production crew, until next week, it's good night.